YouTuber.
So last two questions from chat. We have a question from Chisaki. Is it from Chisaki? Yeah. So why did the Petrus method disappear? Is it just because CFOP Ru and ZZ are better? Ah, I love Petrus. Before CFOP, I actually learned Petrus. Yeah.
You're not the first person I heard who said that.
Really? Yeah. Because
Bro.
I didn't know about CFOP before. And the first method that I saw was Petrus, so I learned it and I became faster, but I I was stuck in a certain time and I couldn't improve anymore. Yeah, that's when I started to learn a different method, which is CFOP. Yeah.
Right.
So, do you want to answer the question?
Sure. I mean, there are certain methods that just don't really hold up in terms of
Mm-hmm.
like today's hardware and such. Back when Petrus was invented,
Mm-hmm.
cubes were very stiff.
Mm-hmm.
It took a lot of work to set them up, and
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
there wasn't enough quite as much information about
Uh-huh.
other methods such as like Friedrich and
Mm-hmm.
CFOP and Root.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so at that point, you were very a very big focus was to reduce the number of moves you have
Yeah.
to do because your cube just takes so long to do a single move.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and so that was something that generally worked back then. I don't think it was
Mm-hmm.
all that popular of a method back then, even,
Uh-huh.
but especially today, move count isn't necessarily a concern. It's more so like a balance of
Mm-hmm.
move counts and ergonomics.
Mm-hmm.
How comfortable it is to do those moves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, there are aspects of it that are still pretty cool in
Mm-hmm.
terms of building blocks and such, and maybe, well, I guess ZZ is a pretty good example of how you can still integrate things like, because that was the
Mm-hmm.
intention of ZZ to build blocks with everything oriented and such, and sometimes it becomes a little bit more like CFOP depending who's
Mm-hmm.
doing it, but um, yeah, it's just over the change of hardware and
Uh-huh.
improved methods and such. Um, you can't just keep using a method because of nostalgia.
Yeah.
If you want speed sometimes, so
Actually,
yeah.
that's a really good point. I never thought of that. Hardware. I think it's really the thing. Because
Mhm.
back then, with the cubes we had back then, you cannot do an M2 that easily for Ru. So it
Right.
was really
Yeah.
impossible. Yeah, I never thought of that. Actually, that's a really good point in that answer. Yeah. So one last question, guys, and oh, I forgot my question. I had a question for you, but I forgot it. So one last question from chat, and oh yeah, and I just want to add that I think Pitras didn't actually disappear because some FMC solvers are still using Pitras for FMC. The more methods you know, I think the more helpful they are in doing FMC. What do you think, Blake? Is it true?
To some degree, it depends how you do FMC.
Uh huh.
Um, the highest level of method isn't
Mhm.
necessarily Petrus.
Mhm.
Um, a few years ago, that was definitely the way to get, like building blocks and edge
Mhm.
orientation and such. Maybe not necessarily in the same form that or the same order that Petrus does them,
Mhm.
but that was the same kind of principle that, like, okay, you build up the cube little by little, block by
Mhm.
block, and eventually it'll all be done.
Uh
That was
huh.
kind of the mentality. So Petrus was used in that sense, but
Yeah. Anyway.
nowadays,
I think we had a
yeah, it
follower.
it
I
doesn't.
didn't receive an alert. Okay, now they're telling us they're here. Ken, hi, hello, welcome to the stream. Thank you so much for the follow. And two other followers earlier, Dusk Den too, and Billy. Thank you so much for the follow, guys. I didn't notice the follows because there was no sound. And welcome to the stream, or maybe goodbye. Maybe they're not here anymore. Yeah. So this one's for you. Yeah. So one last question from chat. Anyone? Last question for Blake.
Well, there's one from GTA and one from Chisaki.
Are there?
Yep. GTA asked about extracurricular,
Uh,
and
I
then
didn't notice
Chisaki
that.
asked.
So can you please read it?
Sure.
Uh huh.
So GTA asked, did you need
Okay.
to have of extracurricular to get into university? Because I'm a senior and don't have a lot. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so so Gio, I don't know if you know what extracurricular is, but
I
it's just
think
like
I have
anything
an
else.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anything else but
it's
academics like that. Mhm.
yep, yep,
Sports? Is that included?
yep,
Uh huh.
yep. So I wouldn't say you really need one. There
Uh-huh.
that many. I kind of picked one, which was obviously cubing, and kind of ran with it
Mhm.
because it goes into like a whole bunch of different areas. And at that point, I was like
Mhm.
organizing competitions,
Mhm.
competing, and all that. But I wouldn't say you need to have a lot of extracurriculars. Once you're applying to higher level universities, that helps. And a lot of the time, they like to see what you're doing outside of school and to see that you're more than just your grades and your test scores and all. So,
Do you get points
um,
for that? School points?
no, it's just like
Just visual like that? Like, oh, he's doing something like that.
yeah. So like you submit your application
Uh-huh.
part of clubs you're in, whatever,
Mhm.
and that's all sent over. So they'll see like your transcript, your test scores and grades and all
Mhm.
that. But they'll also read your essays and all the time those are
Mhm.
that happen outside of school, and so they'll be able to see like, oh wow, this person's interested in like this activity or
Mhm.
sports, and wow, they did a whole lot outside. Holy crap, how did they have such good grades? So it's
Uh-huh.
just like things like that.
Uh-huh.
The US is generally pretty good about using those alongside your application.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, and then Chisaki asked about, do you think cubing can be your job? Which
Okay.
maybe
Before that, I just have a follow-up question. When it comes to applying for university or applying for a job, is there this kind of what do you call it in English? Like a backer thing? Like if you have a
reference.
friend in the company, you can easily get a job, or if your mom knows a teacher from your university, you can easily get in like that. Is there some kind of culture like that?
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say in the sense of university.
Mhm.
Sometimes if your parents went to that university, it
Mhm.
helps.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's necessarily always the case, but
Uh-huh.
people like to use that as a way of like, oh wow, I feel better about my chances,
Uh-huh.
or I feel worse because yeah. Um, but in the case of jobs, there's a lot of them have a way that you can refer other people to apply
Mhm.
there. Um, Especially in the US right now, there are a
Mhm.
lot of jobs open and not
Mhm.
quite that much interest. It's a
Mhm.
big topic of itself.
Mhm.
But for the past decades or so, that's always been something that companies like to include. Where if you refer friends and they're qualified and they're accepted,
Mhm.
pass their interview, whatever,
Mhm.
you and you will at least like get like a little bonus, which is
Mhm.
pretty nice. So that's something that exists there.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Is it important to be good looking when you're looking for a job? Because in the Philippines, when you see some job applications below the requirements, I think number one, with pleasing personality. I think it's always like number one there. Mhm.
I
So does
think
it matter there? Mhm.
I think good looking is different from personality.
Uh huh.
Good looking in English is generally meant to be like are you handsome? Are you beautiful? Are you pretty?
Uh
That kind of
huh.
thing, which would be very controversial if that were a metric
Uh huh.
of whether or not you get the job.
Well, not really a part of the metrics, but like something to consider. No. Mhm.
Yeah, US is not
Okay. Okay.
that's still very controversial, yeah.
Uh huh. Uh
Because
huh.
like yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
dad said it's important
Uh,
that you present yourself well. Yeah, and thank you so much
yeah.
for still being here, this dad. Yeah. Hey, let's go to our last question. It's been 2 hours already. Sorry, Blake. I didn't want it to
Okay.
become more than 2 hours, but it's happening again for the third time. I'm really sorry. Just talking is so much fun for me. Anyway, let's answer the last question. I will not give any follow up, if possible. Yeah. So let's read this. Here's the last question for me, or maybe from me, do you think cubing can be your job? Mm-hmm.
Right. So I don't know if this necessarily means my job or
I think generally
somebody's
speaking,
job.
yeah, generally
Yeah.
speaking, can someone be so good at cubing and make it their job? Maybe not really
Um.
good, but maybe can. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. I mean, you can
Mm-hmm.
you can make it your job. It doesn't necessarily
Sorry,
become it.
sorry. That was a little choppy there. Can you please say that
Oh,
one more time?
so
Mm-hmm.
so you can make it your job if you want to. Mean that you'll be making a whole lot of money. Um. And yeah. So if you're going to competitions,
Mm-hmm.
specifically like world championships and
Mm-hmm.
regionals or whatever, um,
Mm-hmm.
and you're calling that your job and your conditions,
Sorry, for
you know.
some reason you were cut there again. You're calling
Oh,
that
really?
your job. I think it's not your fault. It's Discord's fault. Yeah. So can you
Oh,
please say that
interesting.
one
I'll
more
give it
time?
another shot.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But
Uh-huh.
yeah. So you might not be making enough for it to be like a healthy life in some sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there are definitely ways you can take it. Like if you're very good at competing, if you're very fast, something that you can use to start.
Mm-hmm.
But also going into other areas like making online content, like YouTube videos and
Mm-hmm.
such. Maybe blogging, like writing about cubing. Maybe that's some area.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Teaching how
doing
to
like
cube.
commercials, teaching how to cube. That's a
Mm-hmm.
great one. Um, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
those are all like great ways that you can make some kind of profit from cubing, but
Mm-hmm.
it might not necessarily be a whole lot.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
it's something that you enjoy at least, and a lot of the time that's something people value more than how much they're making. That's kind of like what they prioritize. So, um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah.
Well, that's it. That's our last question. Yeah, so thank you so much, Blake. I thought it would be difficult to invite you for this, but you didn't hesitate. You immediately said yes for this. Thank you so much. Even though the time is not so good, you had to work, and it's already like almost 2 a.m. for you. I'm very sorry. So one last thing, maybe invite people if you have anything that you want to invite them with, social media or what.
Um, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have a YouTube channel that's pretty easy to find.
Uh huh.
Oh, Ethan Pride is here.
Ethan,
Um,
you've been here the whole time.
yeah,
Hi,
so that's easy
Ethan.
to find.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just my name. I use Instagram, so that's on Geo's Instagram post, but it's
Uh-huh.
blankets dot cubing,
Yeah.
kind of a pun on my name.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, those are the main two that I use. So
Uh-huh. Ethan, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you should be next. No, 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 no. We can talk about that some other time. Yeah, I actually haven't decided yet who will be the next one I'm going to interview. But yeah, before next week, I'm going to finalize it. Anything else, Blake?
yeah, I think that's about it. Thank you for having
No,
me be a part of this. I
thank
think there was
you.
some good.
Actually, thank you so much. And yeah, I think I should ask permission. Is it okay to post this on YouTube? I'm gonna cut it, cut it to make it shorter. Yeah. hmm
Feel free, go ahead.
Thank you. And if you want to
Yeah,
cut some parts of it also for your social media, it's okay. You can just copy it from directly from Twitch. And Timon? No, I don't have any contacts. Who else should? Yeah. By the way, if you guys want me to interview some big time cubers there, well, Blake is big time. Yeah. I cannot contact them unfortunately. Who else can I invite aside from Ethan? Ethan, maybe in the future. Okay, I know you're so busy. Yeah, but
we
just
could can,
prepare your answer. I might invite you one of these days because you showed
we
up.
could continue
Sorry, Blake.
we could continue the trend of WEC members, or
Uh huh.
we can bring in former members like Callum.
You know what? While you were offline, you were not here earlier, and I started the stream. I was saying that I'm more nervous now than the past two interviewees. Yeah, it was okay with
Really?
Moore and a little nervous with Enzo. But with you, yeah, I was more nervous, but now I feel a little better. And if you said it Callum or Ethan, I don't know. I will be speechless the whole time maybe. I don't know how to interview those two. Yeah. Mhm. But maybe someday, after I gain a lot of experience in interviewing other people, maybe. Yeah,
Right.
Olivia. Well, I'd love to, but I just don't know how to invite these people you want, guys. Yeah. I just got lucky
Usually,
to invite Blake and Enzo because they're part of my team. But other than them, I just don't know how to contact them or invite them. Yeah. So anyway, I think we should end the stream here. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. Even though it's not the usual streaming time, you're on the same team. Ah, so you're referring to Team SES. Well, I'm not so sure if I can easily invite Team SES members. Yeah, no, I think I can't do that. I can't do that. Is that anyway, guys? Thanks so much, Blake. Thank you so much for your time. For for saying yes immediately. It actually boosted my confidence a little bit because if you said no, it's like, oh, should I still do this thing or not anymore? But I'm glad you said yes. Enzo too, Mauer too. Thank you so much. That gave me confidence to invite other cubers, maybe other streamers here, maybe next week or next week. So, anything else? Maybe I
yeah.
should hit the end stream button. Where is it?
Well, you have to
And
do a raid, right?
yeah, you don't have to yet, but when the end credits start.
True, true.
And I hope it's not broken.
We'll see.
Yeah. So blanket that cubing on Instagram, right? Yeah. Do you post a
Correct.
lot?
Not so much anymore. I think I could come up with some posts.
Yeah.
I usually use like the story feature more.
And soon your Twitch channel, hopefully. I don't know. Yeah. See you, Gio and
Maybe
Blake.
some.
Guys, thank you so much. We will be cut automatically when the song starts. See you guys. Thank you so much, Hisaki, Ethan, everyone. Bye.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it. This is super fun. Good night. Good afternoon. True, true, true. All right. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.